Come and listen to my story about a man named Jed. A poor mountaineer barely kept his family fed. And then one day he was shooting at some food, and up through the ground come a bubbling crude oil, that is, black gold, Texas tea. Well, the first thing you know, old Jed's a millionaire. The kinfolk said, Jed, move away from there. Said, California is the place you ought to be. So they loaded up the truck and they moved to Beverly Hills, that is, swimming pools, movie stars.
The Beverly Hillbillies.
Please don't bother me now. Later, later. This is flat Scruggs. You?
Yes?
You assured me that you were not coming in this morning. I took you at your word. And if a secretary cannot trust the word of her employee, then I ask you, whom can she trust?
Gee, I'm sorry. It wasn't my fault. You see, this appointment... Now, wait a minute. You're having a hootenanny in my office, and I'm apologizing?
We are not having a hootenanny. I was merely holding an informal meeting of my folk music appreciation group. And on our own time.
Well, have it some other place. I'm running a bank, not a barn dance. Who are these characters?
Lester Flatt and Earl Scruggs, progenitors and acknowledged masters of that style of music known as bluegrass.
Bluegrass, schmoograss. Get all this stuff out of here.
That is something I think you should know. Mr. Flatt and Mr. Scruggs are visiting here from Nashville.
Nashville, Smashville. Ouch.
They are the house guests of Jed Clampett.
Clampett, schmampett. Jed Clampett? My Jed Clampett? They're staying at his house?
Yes, with their wives. You see, Flatt and Scruggs are old friends of his from back in the hills.
Well, just don't stand there plugging this record player. I want to hear these boys. Nashville, too. Yeah, that's my favorite city. Say, those boys are good. Pipe that music to the bank speaker system, and then we'll drive over to the Clampetts and meet Earl and Lester in person.
That's a fact. I ain't seen anything picked that fast since Jethro got in the berry patch.
What do you call that number?
That was Foggy Mountain Breakdown, wasn't it, boys?
That's what we call it in the evening, Granny, but if we play it before noon, it's called the Louise and Gladys Wake Up.
Yeah, it's the only way we can get our wives out of bed in the morning.
Girl, that's what we get for marrying city girls.
Well, city or country, I bet that opened their eyes. I'll go get breakfast on the table.
Well, we'll help you, Granny.
I've done had my breakfast, and I'm late for school now.
So long, Jethro.
Yeah, behave yourself.
See you later.
Don't forget your lunch.
Don't worry, Uncle Jed. I got it.
You know, Earl, I don't hear our wives are stirring around up there yet.
Let's give them another blast.
Good idea.
Jed, how about stomping the course this time? Well, I don't know if I can stomp fast as you can pick, but I'll do my best.
Let it go, Earl.
Come in.
I see it woke you up, too.
Woke me. I think it woke my
my aunt in San Francisco.
Imagine at the crack of dawn like this. Why, it isn't even 10 o'clock yet.
Well, Louise, that's what we get for marrying country boys.
Yes. But you know something, Gladys? I wouldn't trade our husbands for Cary Grant.
I wouldn't either. We'd be fighting over him constantly. What are you going to wear today?
I don't know. May as well wear our house dresses. I suppose our husbands will want us to continue our cooking lessons from Granny.
Oh, no. I'll never learn how to make those country dishes. You know, I flunked grits and jowls yesterday.
I don't know how I did on my fatback and collard greens. Did you taste them?
Yeah, you flunked.
When Lester and Earl asked us to come to Beverly Hills and stay at a millionaire's mansion, I had visions of upstairs maids, breakfast in bed.
Dressing for dinner and rubbing elbows with movie stars.
So what are we doing? Learning how to make chitlins, Granny style.
Oh, do you remember the 3 different kinds?
Are you kidding? I had a chitlin nightmare last night.
What do you mean?
Well, I dreamt I was a chitlin, all 3 kinds. I was hand-slung, stump-whipped, and dog-pulled.
Oh, Louise, we've got to get away for a few days. My aunt in San Francisco. We'll fly up and visit her.
Marvelous. But will the boys let us go?
They will if we approach them right. How's this approach?
I like it. Come across the hall and help me pick out my working clothes.
I think I hear them stirring around up there, boys.
Are you girls out of bed yet?
Yes, Lester, darling.
How soon you be down?
Just as soon as we're dressed, Earl, sweetheart.
Get a move on.
We will, Angel.
I know you boys picked out a couple of sweet ones, didn't you?
Yes, we did, Jed. Sweet and pretty.
If Granny can just learn them to cook, we got herself a couple of crackerjack wives.
That's the truth. You can't beat a woman that looks city and cooks country.
I gotta admit, that sounds good.
Say, Jed, how come you ain't married up with one of these pretty Beverly Hills women?
Why, shucks, Lester. These fine, high-stepping society fillies ain't about to jump into double harness with an old country plow horse like me.
Now, we done all right, and you wouldn't exactly call us Kentucky Derby winners.
I tell you, Jed, these city women make fine wives.
That's the truth.
Them lazy women of yours ready for breakfast yet?
Not quite, Granny.
Well, here's some chitlins they made last evening. I thought maybe you'd like to try them.
I would. My wife talked about them in her sleep last night.
Well, shall I throw them out?
Oh, don't do that, Granny. Earl and me want these.
You do?
You betcha.
Lester, you thinking about the same thing I am?
I reckon so, Earl. Let's try.
You're right. They're dandy.
Chief. Throughout the length and breadth of our land, the artistry of Lester Flatt and Earl Scruggs epitomizes the sturdy, vital music of our native soil. Scruggs, for example, has been called the Paganini of the 5-string banjo. In his talented hands, this difficult instrument comes alive with astonishing flexibility and expressive power. And coupled with Flatt's virtuoso handling of the guitar and his warm, authentic vocalizations, this famous team has made tremendous contributions to the unprecedented renaissance of interest in the hardy, fruit-defying music of our native land. Small wonder that I have become an aficionado, and I'm so thrilled at the opportunity of meeting them in person and shaking those extraordinarily talented hands.
Well, howdy there. Come in, come in. Boys, this here is Miss Hathaway and Mr. Drysdale from down to the bank. These 2 young fellas is Lester Flatt and Earl Scruggs. I reckon you heard about them.
Heard of them? Why, I'm an aficionado of their music. And I am thrilled at this opportunity to meet them in person and shake their extraordinarily talented hands. You know, throughout the length and breadth of this country. The artistry of Flat and Scruggs epitomizes the sturdy, vital music of our native soil.
Why, doggone, Mr. Drysdale, you know a lot about these boys. Why don't you tell Miss Jane something about them?
That's a good idea. Scruggs has been called the Paganini of the five-string banjo.
You don't say.
Oh, yes. And coupled with Flat's virtuoso handling of the guitar and his warm, authentic vocalizations, but why talk about it? Let's listen to this hearty, fructifying folk music. There are, Mr. Scruggs. There's your banjo.
I'm screwed.
Exactly. Well, you get your guitar, and Miss Hathaway can hear some authentic crabgrass.
Bluegrass?
Exactly. She's catching on already.
I ain't waiting no longer. Everybody to the fancy eating room for lunch.
Lunch? What happened to breakfast?
Too late. Lunch is ready. Now, come on, everyone to the table. Shoo, get.
But Granny...
You two, move on.
But Mr. Flat and Mr. Scruggs are going to do something for us.
You betcha they are. They're going to get their wives to the table.
We will for a fact, Granny.
Y'all go ahead. We'll be right in.
By the time them city women get up, we'll be having supper.
You know, Earl, I'm commencing to get aggravated at their wives.
Me too, Lester. Me too.
Sometimes I ask myself a question. Why did I marry a city woman?
Me too, Lester. Me too.
Earl, I just got the answer to my question.
Me too, Lester. Me too.
Now, boys, put me down. Put me down.
You deserve to be carried, Granny. You're the queen of the kitchen.
Yeah, sit here on your throne and we'll send our wives in for another cooking lesson.
Yeah, and if you can learn them to cook grits and jowls like yours, we're going to write a song about you.
I'll do it. Did you tell them to get into some working clothes?
Yeah, they had some foolish idea about going to San Francisco, but we put a stop to that.
Where did we go wrong, Louise?
Should have asked them before lunch. Once they tasted Granny's victuals, it was no contest.
Well, let's forget about San Francisco and go back to cooking school.
No, wait. I can't face another lecture on advanced grits and jowls. There's gotta be some way of playing hooky.
You ought to be ashamed of yourself, making me climb up that there tree after you. I just wanted you to meet our company. This here's my bobcat. Want to hide?
Oh, thanks.
Don't be scared. You won't hurt him.
What's the trouble, ladies? Really, May Clampett, you know better than to bring that bobcat in the house. Now get him out of here.
Well, yes, sir, Paul. Come on, Bobby. We'll just climb back up that there tree.
I sure wish somebody'd take that young'un in hand and make a fine lady out of her.
That'd be quite a job.
Not in San Francisco.
I beg your pardon?
Well, Gladys and I could do a lot for her, but we'd have to get her away. From her critters and things.
Yes, to a city like San Francisco.
Well, I got to admit that Beverly Hills ain't done a lot to help her. Oh, but I couldn't ask you ladies to give up your cooking lesson.
Ask us.
Now, in the key of C, for example, the C chord is the tonic, the F chord is the subdominant, and the G7th is the dominant. Of course, I am not possessed of the amazing dexterity necessary to demonstrate the Scruggs style of playing with its flowing, highly arpeggiated three-finger technique, which has been so aptly described as folk music in overdrive.
You don't say.
Yeah. Come on, get the feel of it.
Look yonder, Earl, that banker sure knows how to handle a banjo.
Yeah, let's hear something, Mr. Drysdale.
Well, of course, I don't possess the amazing dexterity necessary to play the Scruggs type of banjo with its flowing, highly arpeggiatic three-finger technique. Incidentally, Earl, my favorite key is C, with its subdominant F chord and its dominant G7.
Man, I wished I knew as much about banking as he does the banjo.
Then what do you do?
Lester, are you boys planning any personal appearances while you're out here?
Well, just one, Mr. Drysdale. We're hoping to play for Jed Clampett's wedding.
What's this?
Mr. Clampett is getting married?
Well, if we could sell him on the notion, that's one reason we brought our wives along. Right, Earl?
Yes, we hope it'll answer this question. Can a man from a little cabin in the hills find happiness as the husband of a beautiful and educated city woman?
You two certainly seem to have found happiness
Pretty near.
Yeah, just a grit and a jowl away.
Well, speaking of your beautiful, sophisticated city wives, how did you happen to meet them?
We were playing an engagement in New York City, and we held an audition for girl singers.
Yeah, there must have been 300-400 girls showed up.
And Gladys and Louise stood out from the crowd.
They must have had beautiful voices.
You know something, Earl? We never did find out if they could sing.
Chief, that's how we can find a wife for Mr. Clampett.
What?
Well, he's too shy to look for himself, but if Mr. Flatt and Mr. Scruggs hold another audition right here, he'll meet dozens of beautiful girls in spite of himself.
Say, that's a good idea.
Now, hold on. Their wives might not think so.
Yeah, they know we don't need a girl singer.
Yes, that's right. With their wives around, there might be trouble. Oh, that's too bad.
Sorry to be so long getting Ellie out of the tree, but I don't climb as spry as I used to.
Paul says you're taking me to San Francisco.
Well, yes, if our husbands will let us.
Well, let's go ask him.
You do the talking.
Be glad to. Now, come on, Ellie Mae. Go on upstairs, get yourself packed. Say, Lester and Earl, your wives here like to go to San Francisco.
Hey, that's a great idea.
How soon can you leave?
Well, don't just stand there jawing about it. Get packing.
Thank you.
Jed, you know you ought to have yourself a sweet, pretty wife like Earl and me's got.
Well, I don't get to travel around much like you boys. I don't get to see many women.
You never can tell when you'll run into a bunch of them.
Oh, yes, that's true. The big city's not like living in isolation back in the hills.
Yeah, back there, a feller had to get himself a wife out of a catalog.
Yeah, listen to this song, Jed, and then you'll know how lucky you are. Get you a mail-order bride. A hillman leads a lonely life. A hillman needs a loving wife. A mail-order bride. He's got a mule, he's got a dog, but what he needs from the catalog is delivery of someone to love without fail.
Without fail.
Without fail by the U.S. mail. She'll help him raise a chicken. She'll cook and sew and bake and help him raise a dickens and rub away each ache. She'll help him raise a brand new barn and then she'll play her ace. She'll raise a little wrangler just to help her around the place. Get you a mail-order bride. She'll burn her brand right on your heart and you won't even feel it smart. A mail-order bride. As you ride home the long last mile, she'll make you feel it was all worthwhile. You'll be full of pride, so satisfied. You order a mail-order bride.
Jethro, you don't have to drive us clear out to the airport. We can still take a taxi.
Yes, just pull over to the corner and stop.
Shucks, Jethro don't mind driving us.
Uncle Jed wants me to help you with the suitcases.
Yeah, he's almost strong as me.
I'm stronger. You don't believe me? Just feel these muscles.
Oh, we believe you. Watch the traffic.
Yes, ma'am. Hey, you know something? That's the fourth fella that's whistled at us.
I wonder how come.
Probably the truck, honey.
Yeah, I reckon. Don't see too many like this.
I'll take a bet on that.
Oh, it's a beauty.
And it drives like a dream.
Hey, I got an ID. I'll drive you all the way to San Francisco.
No, please.
I will. But it's back in the other direction.
No, Jethro. Clear out to the airport.
We have reservations.
Okay. Hey, there must be a lot of fellas going to the airport today. There must be 20, 30 cars following us.
What do you mean they went to San Francisco? I got everything ready for their grits and jowl lesson.
Well, but Granny,
And besides, I was going to throw in another crack at hand-slung chitlins.
But they're doing it for Ellie Mae. They'll be back quick as they turn her into a fine big city lady.
How long will that take?
Oh, both of them going at it shouldn't take more than a day or so.
Fine. The sooner the better. Bye. Well, Chief, I've contacted every major theatrical agent. We will soon be inundated by a wave of beautiful, talented girls.
Well, I'll get back to the bank.
But, Chief, don't you think you should stay and look over Mr. Clampett's prospective bride?
Oh, you won't need me.
But there'll be dozens of girls to look at.
Well, you and Jed and Flat and Scruggs can handle it.
Okay.
Well, don't give up so easily. Coax me.
All right, Chief, we don't need you.
I'll stay anyway.
I'll just feel better if we tell the boys we got here all right.
I bet they miss us already.
Hello? May we speak to Lester Flat and Earl Scruggs, please?
Well, if it's about the audition, that won't be necessary.
Audition? For Flat and Scruggs?
Yes, but don't worry if you can't sing folk music. In fact, it isn't absolutely necessary that you sing at all. As long as you're single, attractive, and have a certain amount of, shall we say, domestic ability. Hurry over or you'll lose out. Bye.
What? What's wrong, Louise?
Did it ever occur to you that our husbands change their minds about this trip very easily?
Well, yes, now that you mention it.
Well, I just found out why. They're auditioning girl singers.
What? That's how they met us.
Don't I remember? Come on.
Ellie Mae, we're going back home. Hurry.
You're next, my dear. And good luck.
Thank you.
All right, number 52, your name, please.
Billy Evans.
Evans. Age?
23.
How old?
26. 7.
Next station.
Thank you.
All right, Miss Evans. Now, this is going to be your music audition. Let's hear you hit this note. That's close enough. Next station.
Thank you.
Passed your singing test, did you?
I guess so.
All right, now this is your cooking test. How do you make sassafras tea?
Oh, with sassafras?
Pass! Now, let's see you sweep.
All right, ma'am. Thank you kindly. That'll be all. Right out this door, please.
Thank you, ma'am.
Well, Jed, what did you think about that one?
Well, it sure beats me, Lester, how you can pick a singer without hearing her sing.
Well, Jed, you know, the finest career that a woman can have is getting married and making a home. Now, what did you think about her as a possible wife?
For who?
Well, you, for instance.
Now, Lester, you've been edging around that question. I think I ought to tell you something.
Yeah, what's that?
If I ever do get married, I want to keep my wife here at home. I wouldn't cotton to her traveling around with your foggy mountain boy.
Gladys and Louise just came in.
Tell them to get in line, Chief. No special favors.
Where are our husbands?
There's mine.
And there comes mine.
Well, look yonder, Lester. Your wives is back.
Yes, so long, Jed.
Lester Flat.
Gladys. It's good to have you back, darling.
Darling me. Since when do you need a girl singer?
Well, now we don't that you and Louise are back.
That's right. Girls, sing Mail Order Bride for Mr. Clampett.
And, Jed, we hope it'll give you an idea, because Earl and me just went out of the wife-finding business.
Get you a mail order bride. A hillman leads a lonely life. A hillman needs a loving wife. A mail order bride.
He's got a mule, he's got a dog, but what he needs from the catalog is delivery of someone to love without fail.
Without fail, without fail.
By the U.S. mail. Get you a mail order bride. She'll burn her brand right on your heart, and you won't even feel it smart. A mail order bride. And as you ride home, the long last mile should make you feel it was all worthwhile. You'll be full of pride, so satisfied. You order a mail order bride.
Now it's time to say goodbye to Jed and all his kin. They would like to thank you folks for kindly dropping in. You're all invited back next week to this locality to have a heaping helping of their hospitality. Hillbilly, that is. Set a spell. Take your shoes off. You all come back now. Here.
This has been a Filmways presentation.